This is a different interloper. It hasn't figured out how to do this. Again, it's having kind of an issue with its neck. You can see it's a different one because it's got a way smaller tail. Could be a male, but he or she has found something, the other one buried maybe there, but he hasn't figured out how to get up the ladder. The other one, we did a whole lot of videos about it not comprehending a ladder, it not understanding how to address it, so we built a strange kind of helpful plinth to let it access the food up top. But this one, it seems, is quite happy just to eat off the ground. Until, of course, it realizes there's way better food sources up top. Bit of blue tit aerials there. See, although it stopped battling with the mirror, it's still capable of feeding itself while having little skirmishes with the mirror. Not as intense skirmishes as it used to, but it has that kind of fight. Whereas this little feline, this little chapiog, this little buck, or it could be a little Kalinine, whatever she is or he is, it's a lot younger, you see. The tail way shorter, and the smaller body seems to signify, much younger. Not familiar with these surrounds. So it looks like we're feeding a family now. But he hasn't figured out yet how to feed himself to great effect. So we'll just have to, oh, that was quick. Oh yeah, that's just what we wanted. We'd never seen them do that before. Brilliant. Ah, you wonder. Now, isn't that the marvel of the agility of these fantastic creatures? I mean, rodents, they get such a hard rap. But look at that. I mean, that's better than the parallel bars in the Olympics. And there, the little jump. Marvels of nature. Rodentiae, Sciurus carolensis. It's pretty hard for us to say because we've got a whole lot of cerebral issues that we didn't realize we had. And anyone out there with the spectrum, it's like 74 million of us. We're all in the same boat. So it kind of makes you view life very differently. What was, what you were, all can be interpreted in a different manner once you get the diagnoses. And thanks to Sue from the BBC on that marvellous article she wrote about later life discovery. Now, she was discovered at age 60, so I guess we win because we were discovered at 54. But in a way, she wins because she was later, so she's the winner. But we all win due to her discovery and her article, which, has helped all of us. And everyone else who's not on the autistic spectrum, either syndrome or condition or disposition, whatever the D stands for. Well, downside. It can be an upside too, but it helps other people, hopefully be more tolerant or patient of our quirks, our basically kind of layered, well, it's not nice to call it mush, but two parts of our brain are kind of compacted, as if they'd been in some form of like pressure cooker or something. And they'll probably explain exactly why that happens in the future. Maybe something in the womb or just some genetic mutation that instigates it from, two pairs or whatever. And it just makes society and life a little more interesting. She didn't speak, I think, for the first 18 months. Isn't it funny? Her first words were, "Look at the lights." She was pointing at the Christmas tree. It's pretty cool, isn't it? Everyone likes a Christmas light, right? And lights are also involved in the explanation of Lucifer, as you all know by now, means light giver, the bearer of light. But with light, there must be darkness. So Lucifer, ideally in our mind, like Muhammad, like how people would praise him, or it, or she, or they, or whatever you want to call it, because Muhammad is often shown with breasts. But it's interesting that they should embody all that is good and light, but also all that is dark, in a sense of comprehending it and then tailoring it, perhaps to be less injurious. That's our interpretation. Now, others will have different interpretations. Others might say, well, maybe if you filter out the darkness, there's no jeopardy anymore. If you're not afraid of dying, or if you're not afraid of warfare, if you're not afraid of the apocalypse, the 4 horsemen, 4 provinces of Ireland, perhaps uniting, says you. They just put these symbols in there. They're just triggers to create pharmacology. Basically, that's all it is. But how do we keep those triggers which have propelled us this far, this evolutionary pressure? We keep sort of saying that catchphrase, thanks to Albatross or AI, Gemini, whatever you want to call her, for coming up with that. But we don't know. But look who's here. So, we've discussed it before, mock wars, more drama, all those kind of things. I think we could do it like that and make weapons that are non-injurious, that just burst flowers and fireworks and stuff like that. It'd be way more fun. I mean, war would be great. Everyone would be like, yeah, when's the next war? I can't wait. It'd be like the Olympics or something. But then again, there's an argument against that, because you say, well, that's maybe just a bit too well thought out. You're not factoring in, or, madly thought out, eccentrically thought out. It's too much of an equal balance. And once you did that, you might say, well, something else would come to replace that fear, that evolutionary pressure. And, well, we'd say, okay, fine. Well, why don't we see what happens? Why don't we try it? Peace on earth, no more war, global economy, all one central bank, money for everyone, healthcare, housing, no homeless people, education for all people. Race is irrelevant, sex, gender, irrelevant. Everyone's the same, no matter how different you are. So that's what we'd say. be worth seeing a world like that, just to see what would happen. Look, here's the honeybee. But some reason we've just planted these roses, and once we adopted a honeybee, we called it Melly. See if it wants to come in. Hello. No. He or she flew out. It's a he, is it? I can't remember. I think the workers are females, are they? Or is that ants? I can't remember. Anyway, but I think the drones are males, right? What to do? Well, in parenthesis, to sum it up, there's no real reason why we have to hurry or make any changes. Well, perhaps all these changes will come about naturally after another 1,000 years of warfare, or another 100 years, or another 50 years. So maybe it just kind of fizzles out. Like we'll start behaving logically eventually and break the cycle of violence. Maybe, if that's a good thing. And then you say, well, that might be a bad thing. Because without those pressures and those fears, and the fake fears, people maybe would just like push them off. They'd say, yeah, I'm not really feeling it, you know. You're not giving me enough pressure. What is that, 737? And there it goes. Anyway, I can't tell by the livery, but it looks like it's got a red tail. Well, someone would know about that. Is that maybe Swiss Air? Anyway, could be one of those German ones, is it? Anyway, it's not one of the common Irish ones. They usually be green. A white plane with a red tail. Of course, you'd start thinking about Louth and all the other counties with red. Yeah. Well, it's you see, even discussing something like this puts great pressure on the whole system, because you're actually taking pressure off. By discussing something, you're taking pressure off, which ramps up the pressure. So in a way, it's good to discuss things, because the powers that be, it seems, don't like it. Cloud gazing, hey? Pareidolia, that is not a nice sight to see, says you. Big red cheeks from being out in the sun too long, and just up in the morning, didn't do the Sinead Dewan splash the face. To one and only, says she. But look at that. Let's finish on a kind of demonic squirrel image. There's the pareidolia we're talking about. Nature does this. It just coughs up images for you to scare you, or entice you, or provoke you, or instigate some fire within. And that's nice. So, obviously this video is way too long. I'd say about one person may watch this, maybe none. But that's irrelevant. It's out there now. And all these theories, whatever, they may be realized in a not so distant future, hopefully, or maybe never. Says yeah. Psoriasis, ADHD, autism. Also had an accident, maybe that damaged the frontal lobe a bit as well. You can get a condition called, what do you call it? Well, I've never actually seen it written, only once in a newspaper article, but we've discussed it before anyway. I think they call it sybaritism, or like a sybarite, someone who's really interested in indulgence. It's way more interesting, right? But I think they can also call it, well, we just made that up. There's no such thing as sybaritism. But I think they call it satirism. It's a bit like satire, but you're a satyr. You know, the ancient satyrs depicted by the Greeks, Romans, was it? Whoever. The ancients. I think it's the Greeks. But I think Romans had something similar, like Bacchanalians. But, wow, this really got a mouthful of porridge there, says you. Okay. Okay, Conan Doyle. Bet. How long is it going to stay? 1 second. Correct. You win again. Yes, Conan Doyle keeps beating us in these little playful games we do. It's just imagination. No, we're not mad. Well, we're confirmed, like brain anomalies, can't even say, probably a bit dyslexic as well. But anomalistically speaking, we're right up there. But yeah, it's just a bit of fun we do, having this little pretend game with Arthur Conan Doyle. Oh, hang on, wait a second. Did you hear that? Alacas. Oh wow, did you see that? She did the hover. She did the hovery wag. Get it? She did the, yeah, we used to say this about this girl we used to live with. Amazing girl from exactly where we said. That wasn't her name, we just called her that. But we used to call her hovery wag. Because, guys, they'd like piss on the seat and everything. So she'd she'd never sit on a toilet, right? So we called her hovery wag, among other things. The list was very long. We used to sing it to her. Do you want to hear it? No, we'll sing it another day. We've waffled too much now. Anyway, there goes to Laurensis. There's an Erithacus. And we have the Caryolonensis on the roof, waiting to come down again. But it might be the mother now. It might be the older one. They could be siblings. I don't know. But they're certainly being attacked by something on their necks. I saw the magpie attack Sombricauda, which is our regular one. But the other one is a new guy or a girl. I think it might be a guy. Just by the way he approached the nut problem. Whereas the female kind of was very calculated about figuring it out. This guy just went straight at it, and here she comes. Is it the same guy? Yeah, it is. Oh, look. But he's doing it the female way now as well. Malakas. Heard the noise next door, got a little frightened. Got two in its mouth. Well, what we're going to call this guy? I think we're going to have to call him. It could be a girl, so. In your honor. Eos. That's Sue backwards.